Today's video review here is over chemical and physical changes. This is the first standard that is part of your project proficiency exam for the 6 weeks. It's been a little while since we've done anything with it, so I wanted to start here. My objectives for you in this lesson are that you'll be able to identify physical changes and that you'll be able to identify chemical changes. There is a packet that goes with this. If you think that you're already good with identifying these parts as physical or chemical changes, then you can go ahead and get started on it. But this is a good review. To begin with, physical changes. These are changes in appearance without a change in the chemical structure. So when we're talking about physical changes, the material from the beginning to the end should still be the same. So for example, like when you boil water, water is H2O in its liquid form. When it turns into a gas, it's still H2O. It's still got the same chemical formula. If you were to cut down a tree, the only thing that's changed is the appearance of it. It's still lumber. It's still wood. So nothing really changes besides the appearance of it. A few other examples here would be like melting ice to water. Okay, so the ice itself is made up of H2O. That's water. And when you melt it, yes, it changes appearance. It might change color and it goes from a solid to a liquid, but it's still H2O. Nothing's changed in that regard. Another example is a tearing of a sheet of paper in half. Now, this piece of paper, we wouldn't be able to put it back together the way it was before without like tape or glue or something like that, but the paper itself is still paper. The only thing that's changed is the shape and the size of it. Other physical changes that you could do with this paper is you could crumple it up into a ball. The only thing that's changed is the shape and the size. Nothing chemically has changed about it. Chemical changes, on the other hand, are changes in the chemical structure. And these include chemical changes or changes in the chemical properties and the physical properties. So in this case, we are making something completely new. When you take like hydrogen gas and oxygen gas and you put them together, it's going to form water. And water has completely different properties than either hydrogen or oxygen on its own. There are 4 indicators of a chemical change. The first indicator is a drastic color change. Now when we talk drastic color change here, we're not talking about going from like a red powder when added to water becomes a lighter red color. Okay? We're talking about like 2 clear liquids when mixed together turn yellow or purple. The color change should not be the same, similar to what one of the original reagents was. Another indicator of a chemical change is the formation of gas, and you'll recognize this based on the formation of bubbles possibly within whatever you're working with. The third indicator of a chemical change is a change in temperature or heat. And this can also be observed by the production of light. So it does not have to have all 3. You can have light being produced, like in the case of a fluorescent dye. That's going to give off light. It's a chemical change that's going on in like glow sticks. The fourth chemical change is the formation of a precipitate. A precipitate is when you mix 2 liquids together, and what's going to happen is it's going to form a solid, and that solid's not going to be able to go into solution. It has different chemical and physical properties than either of the 2 liquids to begin with. We've observed this in the lab when we looked at the mixture of lemon juice and milk, and what happens is when you mix those 2 is that you get curdling of the milk by the acidity of the lemon juice there, and you get a solid that forms. So an example of a chemical change is that of a burning of a match. When you strike that match, it not only changes the color of the match itself from possibly like a red match head to a black charred piece of wood, but it also gives off heat, it gives off light, and it might give off smoke also. You do not need to have every indicator of a chemical change, though, to have a chemical change take place. Sometimes you may only have one of the indicators. Other times you may have all 4 present. Another example that you would be familiar with is the mixture of vinegar and baking soda. Okay, so vinegar, when you add to baking soda, you get gas formation. That's why it bubbles up and creates like a foam-like substance there. And depending on the size of your container, it may run over the sides of the container. I hope this review helps you with understanding physical and chemical changes. You will need to be able to identify both of these on your exam, and you need to know the 4 indicators of a chemical change. That is going to be what's going to help you determine whether it's a chemical or physical change. Are one of those indicators present? Thank you. Good luck with the packet today, and you are to turn in the packet at the end of the period.